This conference will now be recorded.
All right, good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, May 23rd, and as always, everything that we're going to be talking about is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. All right, so number one thing on our list this morning is Tesla. So I woke up and I turned on my computer and I saw this thing just continue to push down, and I said to myself, because I'm looking at my notes and I have Tesla with an arrow at up at 193. 194 and 195. And the reason behind that is because of the selling that it really never ended up pulling back from. So went out, ended up coming back a little bit after 8:30 to start looking at it, and it just has been on its run back towards where it needs to be. So overall, we still do have selling, okay? So there's still definitely selling down there. Based off the amount that it moved back, I just don't see the amount of selling that we've seen over the past few days being able to cover in that short period of time with that short amount of volume. So certainly still people in the short, and that's really, from what I've seen, really isn't the move. It really took that move down because of the news that we have. We can see pretty much almost all of the name brand stocks out there just took a big hit overnight. So still going to be looking towards that downside, but once again, it does need to get back up above where we saw that those prints that came in at 195 yesterday on that bid side of things. So okay, it's a fast mover. We can see that this morning. It is not going to be an easy trade for a lot of people. You can see when you have bars that are over $2 long, it can hurt you quick. So you gotta make sure that you get that definitive show of hand before you really come in. Before you really even think about getting into the stock itself. So we can see at 190, we definitely, we had some nice prints that came back in. But as we've been coming back towards that upside, you could see more selling. 191, we had some selling. 192, 193.50. So we're not really seeing as much buying coming into it anymore as we were as when it was pulling up from underneath that 190 level. So keep that in mind as we're going back in, and just make sure, like I said, find that definitive show of hand, especially with the amount of volume that we're starting to see coming into this. Three prints, I would look for more in that, because you want to definitely make sure that you're right on the direction that it is going. All right, next thing that I have is WB. So remember, it is Thursday. Thursdays typically haven't been our best trading days out there, and we're really kind of seeing that in the pre-market. Not really a lot going on, but WB, another one that we had some beautiful selling coming in at that 45 level. And if we look at 45, we can see that it started at about 7:30 and before 8 o'clock. And typically before 8 o'clock, the orders are just absolutely disgusting. And we could see even as of right this second, the orders are disgusting. You have 200 shares, 50 shares. I mean, just not a lot going on out there at all. So definitely a big show of hand. My only problem here is that if you look at the volume usually isn't that great. So a little concerned about, once the market opens, it not really being able to trade that much. But, other than that, we definitely have our show of hand here sitting at that 45 level. It is mixed, and we know it's a psychological level as well. So underneath is really a little bit more important right here. We can see at 44.50, we do have selling underneath there as well, new selling that came back in. So even though it is definitely mixed and we're going to expect a little bit of a pull-up coming back from there, we should be able to see this thing come back down and satisfy that selling there at that 45.50. Even though, once again, it's only two prints, but if we will look at the orders, 300, 200, 200. So that is, it's a pretty substantial amount compared to the orders that we have going on out there. And the only other thing that I have on my list for this morning, besides obviously our everyday stocks, is Mercy, MRCY. Now, one of the big reasons that I have this on our list, and it's on my side list, but one of the big reasons I have it there is because if you look, on average, it trades 493,000 shares. It's already traded 275,000 this morning. And if you look, there actually looks like there's been a whole bunch of covering that's been coming into it. Pretty much all the bigger prints we've seen this morning have been on the S side of things. You can see that 69 level, the 68 level. So overall hasn't given the best of anything yet, but we got a nice trend that's going on. It's definitely abnormal compared to the volume that we have on there, the volume that we typically see during the day. So another one I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on, but like I said, it's on my side list just based off the fact that it doesn't, once the market opens, we might just see it, trade another 100,000 shares and nothing end up happening from there. But definitely a little bit of an anomaly based off the 275,000 shares being traded during the pre-market. All right, and other than that, like I said, I don't see too much else that's really going on out there. Let's take a look at our scanners. Let's see if we have anything new that jumped in here. All right, so we have NETS, 309,000 shares, but I just can't stand what it looks like. I just don't see anything here that I have any type of interest in. We have AVP, 21 million shares, but is definitely a quantity type stock, nothing that we're going to be looking at all. We have TNXP 183, but again, just not really any type of trading going on. We had some bigger prints that came out there, but it's just not really much for us to be able to go on. DWT is going to be an ETF, TVIX, ETF. We're going to see a lot of ETFs going on out there, especially when you see that big of a hit that came into the market. So we have TROV 111, but absolutely nothing. VIOT not doing any type of trading, one print for 500,000 shares. And then S is, not something that we're going to be focused on based off the fact just not much of a range at all. Next thing going on to is our loser side of things. And once again, I don't see much coming on over here. So WB we already know about. We have OTLK 260,000 shares, but just no real trading that's going on. BIOC is another one where it's just not really a day trade. We on average moves 10 cents, so not really something that we're going to be focusing on. AKS 352, absolutely nothing. We have MRCY 280, but we've already, did we talk about MRCY already? Yes, excuse me, that's on our side list. CHK 711, but no real trade, it's just kind of a quantity looking stock, and that's pretty much it, guys. I don't see too much else out there that really is giving us anything. Any update for Uber? Now, I haven't really been watching Uber much because I wasn't able to short it, and it's, in my opinion, is a big short, so I don't really know much about it. Just, not really anything going on out there right now at all. 96,000 shares. It's just kind of, it's actually, to be honest, to be completely honest, it's trading a lot less volume than I would have thought. It really kind of got pushed to the wayside on the trading side of things. So not really much there that I see. I mean, nothing there going this morning. And like I said, there's been huge selling into it, but that's basically what I have for you. PDD, same deal. Okay, we know there's huge selling at 20, needs to come underneath it. Qualcomm was not looking at yesterday. It took a big hit, but it was just way too mixed. So if the stock's mixed like that, not even going to try to trade it. So there's nothing really to go over there. And then BIDU, guys, I mean, come on. We are basically at our 115 level, which we will be looking for pretty soon for this thing to start pulling back up. I wasn't here yesterday, but that drop in BDU enough for, we're still expecting 115 price target. Well, our conservative price target was 117.50. Okay, the real price target should be 115. I mean, that's just what makes most sense. Now, don't keep in mind, it doesn't have to hit 115. It could go to 115.30. It could go to 115.50. But 115 is, really the spot that we're going to be looking for this thing to start looking to turn back up. Okay, and start, making that guy at 120 start him making some money. Remember, the amount of times that it hit on hit 120 on the ask, about $5 makes perfect sense. Okay, so obviously, there's no exact science in what it was going to be. That's what makes sense, but we're going to go to, we're going to go based off of, if we keep seeing selling coming in, guys, at 115, it's going to go lower. Okay, it's going to satisfy that lower side before we end up coming back up. So right now, BIDU literally is following exactly what we talked about. It doesn't get any easier than that. So we'll continue to watch this one. The only problem with BIDU is if it continues like yesterday, there's just not really enough volume that came in. It had a good volume like for the first 10 minutes in the morning to get into the trade, but then once the morning started, it just kind of died out a little bit. But for those longer terms, doesn't really matter what the volume looks like. It's you just got to wait for it to happen. It's just going to take a little bit longer. Did I cover Qualcomm? Well, I was not in Qualcomm to cover, so cover overall. Yes, Qualcomm yesterday was so completely mixed. We knew we had the great selling at 69. That was our first. That was the first print that came in during the pre-market yesterday morning. So we are underneath that, but it was just too mixed. It was way too mixed for me to really, to get involved with. There was just better stuff out there. So I made one trade on Qualcomm, and then I literally took it off my screen from yesterday. Because when you have, I literally at one point yesterday in Qualcomm could have made an incredible argument for it to be going long and to be going short. And when that's the case, when I have an argument for both of them, I just can't look at it because that means I have no idea. And when I have no idea, that means I don't trade it. So I could give you an answer, but I would be lying to you. All right, guys, anything else out there that I missed? I think that's about it. And I know Donna is usually the one that gives me an answer, and she is on vacation. I know she's at her beach house already for Memorial Day. Guys, keep in mind, we're coming up on a 3-day weekend. So on Memorial Day, it is not, on 3-day weekends, it is not usually fun the last few days of the week. So keep that in mind. Yeah, Tesla 198, Jesus. All right, guys. So let's get ready for our morning. I will talk to everyone in the chat and happy trading.